Krakow is a beautiful city, and it is one of the oldest and second largest cities in Poland. However, beyond Krakow's beauty, there are also a few hidden barbaric murders. When there is beauty, there is horror. Okay, let's go. Now, just a quick little shout out. This case was suggested today by a listener, or a fan, as you will. And they submitted it by heading to our link tree and hitting suggest a case. So thank you, not Joey. This one is for you. Totally not Joey.
Well, it's not actually from me at all.
I didn't think so.
I spoke to the person who submitted it.
Yeah.
And I think you'll find it was not Joseph. And, well, I asked him why. I said, why? Listen, why? And he said, well, there's 3 reasons, really, I want to do that. And I said, well, you better tell me those reasons.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure this case is, woo, and she's not going to be happy with those.
Yeah.
And he said, number 1, it's Polish.
Yeah.
Number 1.
Polish.
Not Joseph knows that Joseph can't pronounce Polish. So he was like, it needs to go to her.
Yeah.
Number 2, you have Polish ancestry. So that's also why not Joseph suggested this case for you.
Yeah.
Number 3, and the most importantly,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this case is disgusting. And that's how not Joseph feels. And that's why he doesn't want Joseph to do it.
Yeah.
He wants Ashley Rose to do it.
Yeah. So if you've got a little case that you want one of us to do, just do what not Joey did and say, hey, this case for Ashley. Thank you.
Thank you, not Joseph.
Vita drogi, mung beans. Or hello, dear mung beans, if you do not speak Polish. And if you do speak Polish, apologies for my pronunciations. Katarzyna Zowada was a 23-year-old student from the eastern parts of Krakow, Poland. She currently lived with her mother and was attending Jagiellonian University. And once again, I am sorry for my pronunciations, even though my mother is Polish and my grandfather was Polish and my grandmother was Polish and I've got a lot of Polish relatives. I apparently didn't learn Polish other than dobranoc and kochani.
And kurwa.
Yeah, and dziękuję.
And dziękuję.
Yeah, and dzisiaj jest niedziela, which today is Sunday. It is not Sunday, but that's what I know.
And Krakow.
Apparently, she went by the name Kasia as well, so that is how I'll refer to her moving forward. Plus, I'm sure you would not want to hear me ruin her name by trying to pronounce it anymore. So in university, Kasia would study history and then try psychology before deciding to major in religion. Which I thought interesting, but then I was kind of like, if you look at Krakow and Poland in general, you're kind of just like, oh, it's like that ancient-y kind of, religion seems like a normal thing to study.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is Poland a relatively religious country?
I'm not 100% sure. I think so. I'm going to say I think so.
Okay.
The buildings look like they...
Worship stuff.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful city. We need to go there, please. Let's go there.
Yeah.
I want to go to Poland. Her friends would describe her as a very pleasant and polite, but weirdly secretive, mysterious, and introverted person. But then I was also like, hello, Polish. Sadly, Kasia's father passed away in 1996 when she was 20 years old, and unfortunately she was there to witness the whole thing. You see, they would regularly hike together, and unfortunately one day he slipped and broke his spine, which would later end in his death. Kasia always blamed herself because she was there and thought maybe she could have been able to do something or help him. I can't imagine how horrific, like going for father-daughter bonding time, your most treasured memory all the time going and doing that. This would later end in Kasia becoming depressed, and I don't blame her because wow, how horrific.
Yeah.
She would dye her hair black, start losing some weight, and started seeing a psychologist, like good on you, getting some help. On November 12th, 1998, Kasia was due to attend one of her appointments, and it was so strange because she just didn't show up. And by the evening, Kasia's mother started to get worried when she didn't come home and immediately contacted the police to report her missing.
As you would.
As you would. Unfortunately, because she was considered an adult, she pretty much got the too bad, so sad, she should be home soon, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It unfortunately would be 2 months later that any real traction started to happen with her case. On January 6, 1999, a tugboat called the Elk was travelling along the Vistula River, which, fun fact, is the longest river in Poland and the 9th longest in Europe. There you go. So they're travelling along this river when something gets caught in the propeller just before they go to dock.
Oh no.
Don't know what you mean, doll.
Neither do I, but I'm saying oh no. That's a placekeeper. Placekeeping that oh no, just in case.
Yeah, I'm pre-putting oh no. This wasn't unusual. It's a river that goes through Krakow, in a sense, so you would think there'd be, a bit of rubbish and debris. Like, I even saw some videos of taking a lot of rubbish out, and I was like, oh, like, how dirty are these? Not dirty, but like, why are people dumping rubbish in this beautiful city?
No, you're right. Well, I mean, not related at all, but I watched them block off parts of, like, the Thames, and then they would pull out, like, all the gunk and stuff. I think in Amsterdam, and they found bikes and
It's ridiculous.
all sorts of stuff. It's nuts.
Get rid of your trash properly, please.
Yeah.
Now, as it was after midnight, the boat docked and they went home because the captain kind of thought, oh, we'll have a look in the morning. It's cold. Not doing this because currently they're in winter. FYI.
Plus, they would have thought it was just rubbish or debris or something.
Yeah. And if it's after midnight, you're not really going to want to get out in the cold, have a look through and see what.
Not in Poland, not in winter, because it snows there.
And it's dark.
Cold and it's dark.
And it's cold. The following morning, when the captain went down to check what had got caught around the propeller, he would be in for quite the shock. They found some weird looking material, almost like leather, and it was really pale, like it had been in the water for a long time. Police were called immediately as the men realised that human skin was what caused the boat to jump the night before. And I say human skin, not body parts, not attached to a body at all, just skin. Just skin.
But on propellers, how big was this boat? What kind of boat was it?
It's just a little tugboat. It was a little body boat.
I mean, also though, a tugboat usually tugs big vessels and freighters and stuff.
Yeah, but they're little boys.
But if it's like, well, I'm thinking about the power and the speed of the propellers and stuff, and the fact that that caused it to,
Well, from what I had read and looked through, it sounded like they were literally just about to dock, and then that's when. So I don't know how
So they're already
fast it
slowing
was
down.
going.
Yeah, right.
So I think it's kind of like right as they're docking, as far as I'm aware. But yes, very much to your point of how would that stop that? So when police arrived, they realised they were looking at the skin of a woman. And it was weird because the skin had been removed from the body, as I said earlier, and made into some kind of vest or swimsuit looking thing of sorts. And I say made into because it was kind of sewed together. You cannot really find photos online except for a drawing. So the best I can explain for our dear listeners, it was kind of cut off like from the neck to the belly button and then almost just like a swimsuit. Divers searched the area where they also found some discarded garments, flesh of the buttocks and a leg sliced below the knee. DNA would confirm that the remains belonged to Kasia. She was found 2 months after going missing. Due to the nature of the case and the police officers of the time not being used to this kind of thing, and let's be real, WTF, finding someone skinned pretty much, that is not a usual occurrence.
No, that's abnormal.
Very abnormal. So they realised they would need some help. And who better to call than the FBI?
Ooh.
Interesting.
So the Federal Bureau of Investigation, they got in contact with they got in contact with the US.
But also part of me was like, of course the US would want to come in because, I don't know if you've listened to our Unit 731 case, how other countries like to kind of look at things and get some information on things just to kind of, you know what I mean? So I was kind of like, I'm not surprised that I think they called out, so I'm not surprised that the FBI
Responded
attended.
and we're like, okay, we're coming.
Because I'm probably like, ooh, skin suit, we're there.
That's very Silence of the Lambs.
You know what's really funny? I've never watched that before.
Huh.
Fun fact.
Perhaps
Don't come at me.
you should.
I think I should.
Yeah.
Next sleepover. There you go.
It puts the lotion on its skin or it gets the hose again.
Don't know that.
That's from Silence of the Lambs.
Is Clarice. Hello, Clarice. I know that. That's about all I know. That's about all I know.
He had it with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
I should watch it, hey? It's about time. The authorities had some theories before the FBI stepped in, and one was that a doctor thought that maybe she had been in the water and then hit by the propeller and degloved. And although that is horrific in itself, she did not go that way.
But also, did a effing mermaid come along and sew her back together again?
Yeah.
Ah!
Yeah.
Oh, that was really hard not to say the F word then.
I know. It's hard, hey? That's a hard F right there.
That's a hard F.
Later on, officials would find out just how horrific Kasha's end was.
I bet.
She had been kidnapped, drugged, tortured, and they even believed that she was skinned whilst alive. And then, of course, was sewn into some weird skin suit.
Your people, they're your people.
Not this one. Not this one. Not this one.
I don't claim him.
We do not, us Polish, do not claim him. Now, this case was one that was so odd and no one really knew what to make of it. It would be referred to as skóra or skin in Polish. Now, because this murder happened in Poland, obviously, it is a bit hard to find anything or much information on the crime because, hello, you need to translate, and silly me didn't even think to get my cousin in Poland to translate, but also might be weird after not talking for a while.
Yeah.
Digression and session.
But also, can you imagine reaching out to someone after, like, how long? Years? Are we talking about years?
Yeah.
Yeah? And being like, hey, there's a murder.
Like probably 10 plus years.
Yeah, there's a murder
Hey.
and I need some information. Oh, by the way, how are you?
It's a really horrific murder too. Like, just this old thing. Have you seen
Yeah,
this
I
old
bet
thing?
they'd know about it though.
They'd have to know about it, surely. So the FBI is in, criminal profilers trying to figure out what kind of monster would do this and could do this to another.
A mermaid.
It's a mermaid. Done. Ruined this case, didn't ya?
Sorry.
Mermaids didn't.
Sorry, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Spoiler alert. Thank you. It's been a great episode.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Make sure to follow up. We'll see you on the flip side.
Bye. They would find out that her body had actually been in the water for a few weeks as well. So the investigation started and they tried to find her last movements and who may have been around her. They would find out that Kasha had actually stopped attending university probably a few weeks before she went missing. And strangely enough, when her photo was taken around the university in the early stages of her disappearance, a few cleaners recognised her and said she was a cleaner, but that her name wasn't Kasha. It was like Anna or something like that. Apparently she worked at the university as a cleaner, but her mum didn't know that as well and she went by a different name. But then I also dived into how was she getting paid? Like, I don't know. I don't really know if that's it's really hard to confirm all of the details. There was one person who was unnamed at the time that kind of spiked the interest of police. He was known as a bit of a perv, and by a bit, I mean watching women with binoculars and harassing them, just that old thing.
Oh, she's bird watching.
He's just literally bird watching.
Da.
Duh.
Tag.
Ta.
Da.
Or is that da? I think that's Russian, isn't it? Da.
Da is Russian.
Tak.
Tak.
Tak, yes. Yeah.
Tak. Bird.
Yeah.
Tak.
Oh, and he also enjoyed writing disgusting little letters, like a little perv. And apparently, although I could not fully confirm, he was said to buy women's underwear and wear them. I mean, each their own, but don't be a perv and harass women and do that.
Listen, Linda. I'm wondering if Silence of the Lambs was actually written about this, because one of the murderers, the one that does the skin stuff, he, I believe, also pretends to have a vagina, like he puts his penis between his legs and stuff, and I think he does wear some female clothes, so I wouldn't be surprised if maybe
it was.
that's where it was stemmed from.
Yeah.
It's a little too on the nose.
Yeah, I should have watched the movie, shouldn't I?
There's still time.
There's lots of time. One thing that was pretty odd with this guy, he would also visit Kasha's grave, like fairly regularly. He would leave a candle, and there was whispers that he had been seen bearing letters in or near her grave, although police would not find anything to confirm this. So I don't know if it was just a bit of gossip around town or...
Well, if he was burying them in or around the grave, they would have found them. So I think that is absolutely gossip.
Gossip. Nothing really came from this suspect of sorts, and with not much more information for them to go off, Kasha's case would go cold until May 1999, when something extremely odd came across the desk of the forensic team. It was the body of a man, decapitated, and his head had been degloved. I mean, with someone's face skinned and with how Kasha was found, investigators thought maybe this might be the killer. An elderly man found the body strung up in his basement, and sadly, it was the body of his son. So, given this man is elderly, you can assume his son would be 40s or 50s. Who knows? I could not find anything. And it did not take long before police found the person of this crime, and it was actually the deceased man's son. So his grandson. His name was Vladimir W., and he was 26 years old at the time of the crime. Originally from Russia, Vladimir also attended the same university as Kasha. So hello, this is all kind of adding up. So let me tell you something super gross about this crime, and it'll make you think, my lord, what is going on in Krakow? So Vladimir wasn't a fan of his dad.
Obviously.
Or they had an argument, and Vladimir would end up stabbing his father multiple times before hanging him up, cutting off his head, and removing his face, as you do. He sewed the face together, almost like a mask of sorts, and then placed it on some salts so as to preserve. I guess. Dear listeners, if you can hear the rain, I'm sorry. It's been very hot.
You're just going to have to live through it.
Brisbane, hot, then rain.
Australia.
All in the one day. Now, if that wasn't horrific and effed up enough, Vladimir decided to wear his father's face, dress up like him, and even go and meet up with his grandfather, acting as though he was his dad. Yeah. Now, when I first heard about this, I was like, how could you not tell? But apparently the grandfather had bad sight and would later comment he thought his son sounded a bit weird. But yes, I don't know where they met as well, because how did no one else see them? I have a lot of questions.
If your grandpappy has bad sight and couldn't tell that you were wearing a dried out face mask made from your old man, then you probably didn't need to put it on.
So apparently it was like an experiment for him. He just wanted to see if he could get away with pretending to be his dad or something, like wearing his clothes and then his face.
Yeah, but to his visually impaired grandpa.
I know, messed up.
That just, like, you would want to go for, like, the prime person, if you're going to try to, like, get away with doing something. The prime person who has 20/20 vision, you want to trick them.
Just not right. But how messed up is that? Like, that is...
Crazy.
Your grandson has come to visit you wearing your son's face. Messed up.
Was there a reason he wanted to do that other than just, like, passing as his dad?
I couldn't find a lot of things, and also because Russia, which we'll find out soon, but nothing was ever released as to why. Vladimir was arrested and would later say he did it out of revenge. Like, far out, sometimes you want to get revenge, and then sometimes you cut the face off your victim and wear them like what in the actual. I cannot, Susan, I cannot.
Revenge?
Yeah. So this was the thing, I don't know if it was kind of open to the public to kind of say as to why you would do this, whether it was like an argument and he just snapped, or it was a prolonged, like, I couldn't find anything. Messed up. Vladimir was sentenced to life in prison, and after serving 5 years, he was sent back to Russia.
Wow.
So Vlad is not our guy. But also, what are the odds? Just a few months apart.
And
a woman gets degloved, someone degloves his dad.
And they'd gone to the same school.
Exactly. But apparently they didn't know each other, but they just went to the same.
You don't have to know someone to kill them.
As the years went on and forensic testing got better, the investigators were able to get a little bit of traction when they found that Kasha had traces of vegetation on her that were found outside the city. I've done a case before, or have you, where they found vegetation on her and they knew that...
That was you.
Was it me? Yeah.
Yeah,
I couldn't
they
even
found
remember.
some leaves on her from the garden in front of her house.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you remember the name of the case, like obviously we've established I did it, maybe you, dear mung beans, can remind me by commenting on our YouTube channel or social. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. Now we jump to 2017 and investigators get the piece of the puzzle they had been waiting for. A letter was sent to authorities, and apparently this letter has never been released before, so we don't really know the full details in the letter. However, it stated that the writer's friend, 52-year-old Robert Gentruski, had murdered Kasha all those years ago. So a letter was sent to the police saying this guy did it. So Robert's childhood, we'll just skim over that a little bit. His father was a poet and ran off with another woman, which sounds like some weird story, olden day time, maybe even a poem. And Robert still lived at home with his mum. Prior to him leaving, it was said they were very religious, but also there was a lot of violence and arguing in the household. It is also said he got beaten by his parents a fair bit as well. Robert had also been assaulted twice, where he had to report it to police. And once he was older, he ended up taking martial arts lessons to protect himself. He was even in the Polish military at one point before working in a morgue, and then finally at the Krakow Zoology Institute. He was fired from this job because one day all the rabbits were killed and Robert couldn't explain how it happened.
No, he wouldn't explain how it happened.
You can also see like a tiny bit of footage of police officers coming to the door and talking to him, like it's all in Polish, but there's subtitles. And he's like, no, don't know her. And I was just like, oh. So funnily enough, Robert was also that person of interest way back in the day. You know, the one who went and visited Kasha's grave a lot? So investigators would search his cottage, which was just outside the city, and would end up finding some evidence. Which I was kind of like 1998 to 2017. How? But, They found blood in the bathroom and his diary, which detailed his stalking of women and also what he did to Kasha.
Yeah.
Yeah. He would deny having any part in her murder. It would also later come out that Robert worked in the market square that Kasha normally went to. So police think maybe they met there. Robert would end up being sentenced to life in prison. Wow. And apparently he even complained about the guards being mean to him or getting bashed up. Yeah, I know. And one thing I found very interesting, so with this Robert and with Vladimir, their eyes are blurred out. You can't see their full face. And I'm like, hello, you're showing the full face of the victim. You're showing her body, but better protect him. Like, excuse me, why? I don't understand that. So another final twist to this horrific tale today is that there is a bit of whispers around how people don't actually think that Robert did it.
What?
Yeah, so people think Robert didn't do it. So even his psychiatrist, who diagnosed him as a schizophrenic, didn't think he did it. You may be thinking, but hello, blood evidence, all of the things. Well, we'd later find out that the person who wrote the letter originally to police was also a rather questionable person that have a few people thinking he may be the actual murderer of Kasha. You see, this guy also worked in the main square and he worked in a reptile store.
You leave my people alone.
Don't you come for me and my people.
Not my community of herpetologists.
He was described as an alcoholic and he enjoyed hobbies such as beating women.
Oh.
Yeah. One other little thing was apparently he knew more about skinning than Robert. His house was full of reptile skins, so he would skin them.
Oh, he's not my people.
Yeah, he would skin them, do the things, and then put them up on the walls and stuff. His house was just full of reptile skins. So, although not a lot to go off, I just wanted to add that little bit in because I thought it was a bit interesting. Because some people even said that, well, it could be him gloating, but blaming his friend for it. And unfortunately, because it's in Poland that it happened, I couldn't find any court documents, what happened in the hearings, nothing like that, which was super frustrating. And one final thing, to this day, Kasha's body has never been found. And that, dear mung beans, is the horrific murder of Katarzyna Zowada and the sidestepping of what is going on in Krakow with people being skinned.
The end.
The end.
Yeah, look.
The thing I found the weirdest with this, because I didn't really know a lot about it, I went to look into it before and I was just kind of like, whoa. The biggest thing for me is what were the odds of two different people
In Krakow, in the area,
around the
doing
same
something
time.
very similar.
Yeah.
I mean, fair. But did they have much of a lead, or was it more circumstantial that they believed that the person at the very end who did it was not him and was this reptile person? Or is it just because, one, he was in the reptile trade, two, he skinned reptiles?
So it was more just, I guess, gossip around the town, conspiracy theories around it, that because they were friends, and although Robert worked in the morgue, his friend was more skilled at skinning animals.
Is there not a chance that both of them could have been in cahoots?
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But yeah, I think the thing that really tied Robert was him being a creeper and then also visiting her grave. Like, why are you visiting her grave?
But they also found a diary of the things he did. Was that placed there? Like,
That's what I mean. Yeah, was that old mates?
If it was old mates that was placed there, all they would have needed to have done would have been a handwriting analysis, which they had at that time. So...
And I don't know if they did that.
Yeah.
That's frustrating because I could not find anything to say
Well,
what.
I suppose at the same time, though, they found it in his property. They wouldn't assume it's someone else's, right?
Exactly.
He's been accused of the thing. They found evidence about the thing.
And he was of interest at the start.
Correct. And there was blood that belonged to the victim. Even after that many years, he obviously is not a very clean man. But it just, I don't know.
But them being friends, it's like, did his friend go over to the cottage without him there? Like, did he who
plant
knows?
blood? But if he did, I don't know. Interesting.
Very
Gross.
interesting.
I'm glad that I didn't research that one.
Yeah.
But thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Not so welcome. Make sure you follow our channels. Check us out on the YouTubes.
Yeah, on the tubes of you.
And we'll catch you on the flip side.
Peace out, bro.
Bye.
Sounds like a cat in heat.
Just had to do it.
Which also makes sense though. It's bloody hell.
So in university, crazy, and then try psychology.
What was your star sign? Never mind.
I think she was. Oh, I'm pretty sure her month was June, but I didn't. I went to write it down and I was like, and then I was like, put her star sign in. And I was like, I don't need it.
I can feel it coming inside my mouth.
Oh,
Saliva.
So,
That is my buttock.
do not touch my buttock.
Not the buttock. Actually walk away.
Yeah.
That would be funny.
That would be great.
I just love that the vacuum was called Nunu.
Oh no. Yeah, because it's and that's what
Vagina.
I call my son.
Well, yes.
Noey Nunu.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember when you told me you called Nunu, I was like, really? I didn't understand it at first.
Call him a walking vagina.
Because we used to, the pet name for ladies' front garden was a Nunu. So then when you were saying Nunu to him, I was like, and then I got it. So,
Crazy white people.
I mean, Krakow!
Krakow. No, not saying that. Jagalon.